I'd love to know just a little bit. Carvana is arguably one of the fastest growing startups, and it's one of the most well-known names in the Phoenix market as well as several other markets. My understanding. How did you end up at Carvana?
Yeah, great question. Why don't I start? I'll give you a very, very quick history of myself and how I got to Carvana. So I came out of college. I had studied computer science. I knew I loved startups and wanted to be a part of that community, but I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. So I ended up going to grad school in law and business to try to figure out more what I wanted to do. Even after that, I still wasn't quite sure. So I ended up joining a law firm and working with startups. So not directly working in startups, but kind of helping them in a certain capacity. And after doing a few years, I still really, really had the bug and wanted to really, dive in and do my own thing. So luckily, I had a friend from college. He was my freshman roommate. Had kept in touch and we're still really good friends, and we decided to jump in and start a company. So the very, very fast version of that company was in analytics. We were analyzing these huge sets of email data in order to build social graph. We had the full startup journey. We raised money, built a team, and actually there's a really cool Galvanize connection in there. We had one of our offices was in Galvanize Boulder, which is a really fun space. And we had about 10 people and crammed into a little office and really enjoyed Galvanize. Actually, we met one of our investors, so that was a fun time.
Wow, that's amazing. And, shout out to our Galvanize Boulder campus. I'm super happy that you guys started your journey with us, and I'm glad it was a good experience. So getting into Carvana, let's go through what is Carvana.
Sure. I will start kind of very high level, and you can tell me the parts that you want to go into. So Carvana is our tagline here kind of is way people buy cars. And so what we try to do is provide a great selection of vehicles, give you financing, allow you to trade in your car, do all of this in a way that is very, very customer centric. It's all fair. It's easy to use. What we believe is the best possible experience we could give. So we've been working on that since around 2013. Sold our first car in 2013. So relatively young company, about 7.5 years. Went public in 2017. Has been growing really, really quickly. Just a little bit about kind of where we are. We're in. I looked these up today just to make sure I had the right numbers because these change quite often. We're in 261 markets. Across the country. We started in Atlanta and kind of spread out from there. That covers about 3/4 of the population of the U.S., about 75%. And we're still expanding every day, trying to fill in all those spots and deliver what we think is this really great experience, which is as soon as next day delivery of all of our cars for all those people.
Yeah, I would think that cars would be the one thing that you wouldn't buy online. And I say that and now I'm actually looking at buying a new car, and I started looking on Carvana. And I just think that it's so interesting, the perspective and how you guys have been able to shift the consumer mindset of going from you have to be in person, you have to sit in the car, you have to smell the car. But it seems like you guys have one of the best return policies I've ever seen. And it seems like you're just so consumer friendly. I mean, how did you manage to do that with cars?
Yeah, great question. I'm curious to hear how your car shopping process is going, but it's a great point. At the beginning of Carvana, the big question was, could you really get people to do this online? That's not how people buy cars. They want to go in, they want to test drive, they want to smell the car, they want to walk around and see how it really feels to own the car. And so that was one of the questions. How do we go about doing that, translate to the online experience? Because the online experience has a bunch of benefits. We can give you this really wide selection. We can do all of these fair, transparent things that e-commerce is really well set up for. So our answer to well, what's missing? How do we get people over that hump? We've invested a lot in some strategies there. So one is we think our vehicle photography is really important. Make sure you can spin this car around. Our 360-degree spinner, something we're really excited about and continue trying to level that up all the time. So you really can get this feel of a car before you actually touch it. And then you touched on another thing that we think is really important. It is this really fair, easy to use 7-day test own period. You get the car, you drive it around, go get groceries, go do whatever it is you want to do with your car, see if it fits your life. And if for any reason it doesn't, we really do stand by that. We'll take the car back. You can look for the one that does fit your needs. We think that is a big part of our offering, is making sure people feel comfortable. That's really going to happen. If it doesn't fit my needs, I can return it.
Yeah, and I think that the turnaround time is insane. I mean, I've looked at cars and it's like currently in Austin, Texas, and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's like, we'll get this to you within, 1 to 2 days. And, the logistics that have to go behind someone purchasing a car online, triggering someone to deliver that. I mean, it's not like they're all in one central place. How have you guys been able to manage that?
Yeah, so I'll get in. I'll try to keep my business jargon to a minimum, but we're a highly vertically integrated business, and we do all of those things in house. So the vehicle reconditioning to make sure the cars live up to our standards, and the logistics network to move them from those reconditioning centers out to your door or all of our customers' doors or to our vending machines. We do that all in house, and that is a really challenging thing to take on, to build all of those things. But the reason why we've done it is we get those benefits that you just described. We can tune and optimize our logistics network to make our promise real. That car is in Austin, and we're going to get it to your door in 1, 2, 3 days, whatever happens to be the case for the particular car. But we know all the pieces involved. We can quote a really accurate time, know it's going to end up on these legs of a logistics network. We'll show up at your door clean with a Carvana advocate who can walk you through the entire process, make sure you understand the return policy, all of those things. We've built all that in-house in order to do exactly what you see. It should feel really simple. It should feel really fast. That's what we're going for.
I mean, it couldn't have always been like that. And then, you guys started, quite a few years back. How many iterations do you think that Carvana has gone through to get to this point?
Yeah, I think about that one, lots and lots of iterations, but from maybe a slightly different angle. So we started in one market, Atlanta, and said, how do we get this experience right? And so when you're in just one spot, some of those issues are a little bit easier. We had vehicles close to Atlanta and figured out how to do that well. Then you add 3 more markets, and it's a more complex problem, and you see what emerges as, hey, here's the biggest thing we need to work on. And as you expand, new problems continue to pop up. And that's true of us today as well. We're still trying to grow really, really quickly without sacrificing any of that great customer experience. We really do believe getting customer experience right is the foundation for everything. It's why more and more people come to us. It's why the whole business works. So that when you get bigger and bigger and expand across the country, that is always the forefront of what we do. How do we make sure we have all the cars people want? It gets there quickly. They get all the financing if they're interested in that, have all those options, and everyone has this incredible experience. That's the thing that we have to make sure we never lose.
And that's one of the things that I've been curious about. So you guys do offer financing with cars. I mean, how big of a percentage of your business do you think comes from the financing side versus physically purchasing cars, buying cars, reselling cars? How much has that been coming into play with your business?
Yeah, so over 75% of our customers choose to finance with us. We allow, if you have your existing financing with, the bank that you're familiar with, you're welcome to use that as well. Like I said, over 75% of our customers choose to finance with us. We have, what we think is a really good financing offering. It's really well integrated into our experience, where you can go browse around on our site and see exact payments on every car and play around with your terms. Like if you want to put more or less down on the car, or have a 72-month term versus a 60-month term, we give you the options to play around with all of that and see exactly to the penny what your terms would be. So we think that's a really great part of our offer. Gives you full transparency and lets everyone choose the deal that's best for them. So we think that really is central to our business. You got into, we do lots of things. An area we haven't talked about yet is we also buy cars from customers. So there are a lot of pieces of this that come together. And our goal with all of those is to bring them all together so you get full control and you can decide which pieces you want to take advantage of, and you can configure them in the ways that work for you.
So on the buying and selling cars, do you have to be buying a car in order to sell your car to Carvana?
Great question. So we have always bought cars from customers. That initially our focus was, if they're buying a car from us, we will take the trade-in. That's the simultaneous, we buy the car and sell the car at the same time. Over the last few years, we've really stepped up our efforts to do we are willing to just buy the car, do that as a standalone, buy the car from customers. We think that's a really important part of what we do for a number of reasons. So we've invested a lot there growing that experience. One thing that's happened recently is we're now buying, roughly on the same order of magnitude. We're buying as many cars as we're selling, which has come up really, really quickly. And so that experience lives by the same principles. We've gone for all the same things. It's really easy to go on our site and get a valuation for your car, answer a couple of questions, takes a couple minutes, and you get a real offer for your car. If it looks good to you, we will come out, pick up the car, cut you a check immediately. We think it's this incredible experience. I have a couple with friends of mine who've gone through the process. It's one of those things that say, I can't believe that was all it seems so easy. So we're really excited about that, and it's a really important part of our business that's somewhat separate from selling cars to customers.
Yeah. And, a couple other things as far as like buying cars go. I think that as a customer, at least, I browse Carvana almost every other day looking for my perfect car. And I as a customer, has come up with this feeling that I need to see like 6 or 7 new cars each time I go on. Was that kind of the mindset with purchasing more cars to just have more inventory? And another thing that I've noticed is you've started using third-party certified Carvana partners to up your inventory as well.
Yeah. So one thing about that is, when you come to our site, if we have just a few cars to choose from, we're unlikely to have the thing that really fits you perfectly, the thing that you want. The more cars we have, the more happen. So we think of our inventory size as the bigger it is, the more selection we can offer to customers. So we really do want to find that right balance of this really large inventory that you have access to. Buying cars from customers is a big part of that. It's another way that we can find the selection of cars where, if I feel really strongly I want, the slightly different shade of silver, and that's rare to find in this model. We want to be the place where you can find that, and a big part of our offering is having this really wide selection that's available to you. So buying cars from customers is a big part of that. And hopefully, as you browse around, like many others, because we have this big inventory, you are able to find that perfect thing.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the day when I can write exactly what I want in my perfect car and say, alert me when this pops up, and see when that happens.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably still be, I'm a super picky person. So, so as you guys are growing, literally geographically, the car vending machines, when those first came out, I was certain that was a gimmick. But the fact that people can actually go through a vending machine to get a car got me thinking, did you go with that style to cover, as far as real estate, having it go up versus having big car lots? Was that part of the decision of that?
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of factors that go into that. So one, that it always starts from is we think this is really cool customer experience where you get this nice coin, you deposit it in, you see a car come down, you get delivered. It is this really fun experience that we think many of our customers really enjoy. So that's why we thought it was a good option, but it serves many purposes. Like you said, it's actually a very small piece of real estate. So it's pretty efficient to put these things up. We have 26 of them now around the country, which have popped up really, really quickly. So it's this great experience. We think it's pretty efficient from a real estate standpoint. It's also efficient from giving customers this scaling this experience where if they come and have this experience at the vending machine, we can give that to lots of people at the same time with 4 bays as opposed to delivering cars. Although delivering cars is something we're very, very happy to do. That's how we started, and for customers get to choose which kind of experience would they like to have, and we're happy to do both.
And I think what's impressed me so much, you touched on it a little bit, is your happiness to deliver to the customer. I've looked at cars online, other places, even car dealerships, that whole stressful experience. You have to have a huge emphasis in customer success and customer satisfaction. What does that look like in terms of your teams? How much of your team is really dedicated to that, white glove service?
Yeah, I won't be able to give you an exact number, but it is a
Mhm.
huge chunk of what we do. So if you think about our company, we're product and technology building online services. We are operational in terms of reconditioning vehicles and our logistics network and all the way that delivering to our door. The majority of our employees and majority of the focus of our company is on that, white glove, great experience at
Mhm.
directly interfacing with customers. A little more color in that area. So NPS is a measure of like how
Mhm.
satisfied are customers. That's a number we look at every day to make sure we're living up to what we want to deliver. Our number is something we're really really proud of. It's kind of stands out in retail, stands out a lot in auto, and that's why we think we're successful. Is you get all of that stuff right, and you give people this great experience that they become our evangelists and say, this is the
Mhm.
way to buy cars. I'm going to tell everyone that I know that's exactly what we're going for. So it is that's the focus of the company, and a big chunk of our workforce. That is what they do every day.
Yeah, I mean, time and time again, when I was, looking at buying a car, your name kept coming up and coming up more than, any competitor that you have. I mean, you have to be capturing a huge percentage of the market because if someone's buying a car online, it's going to be through Carvana. Um, do you anticipate that, trend continuing? Do you have any competitors that you're concerned about?
Yeah, we are really, really excited to continue growing. One of the things one of the stats that kind of blew my mind that I had no idea before working at Carvana is just how large the auto industry is. We're talking about $1 trillion industry.
Wow.
We've grown really quickly. We're doing something we really, really believe in. We're continuing to scale as fast as we can, but we're still a tiny fraction of the market. No player in used auto has more than 2% market share.
Wow.
So that sets up the situation where we can grow and grow and grow and take more and more of that, which is our goal. Is we think we have this really great offering and we want more people to experience it. But that dynamic means competitors aren't really what we think about most, because
Mhm.
there's nobody who's really huge. We can grow and others can grow, and we're not really stealing from each other. That's not how we view it. So what we have seen over the years is, first it was crazy to sell cars online. Now there are more people interested in selling cars online because, in part because we've shown that it can work really well.
Mhm.
So in a lot of ways, happy to have that trend happening where everyone now says, if I'm going to buy a car, I should do it online. That's the best way to do
Mhm.
it. And we think we're a really great option to do online. We've been at this for a long time and feel really good about what we've built.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been, a triumphant in your branding, kudos to you and being able to create that customer experience. And, what would you say that your typical target market or target customer base looks like?
Yeah, I came from where I used to work before Carvana, where that was an incredibly important question. We have to get super smart on exactly the
Mhm.
person who is our target market and make sure we're speaking to them and not trying to go after too many people. The interesting thing about Carvana is how universal or how common it is to buy a car. And so when you look at our customers, it is very hard to say our customers look like one particular thing. It's a really, really diverse group of people. And so we're a pretty broad offering, and we feel really, really good about that. We have all sorts of different kinds of cars. We want to have that broad selection for all the different kinds of preferences that customers have. The things that we think are universal that apply to everyone are: be really transparent, be fair, make sure the entire experience works end to end. And that turns out to be, common to many, many, many folks. So it's hard to give an answer like what is our target market.
Mhm.
It's a really, really big group of people who are interested in buying a car.
Anyone with a driver's license, right?
Yeah, you can look at it that way for sure.
So, I guess that makes me think, I mean, it really does seem like you guys have a product, you've got a service, you've got a group of people. I mean, would you expand internationally?
Yeah, interesting question. So this is the kind of thing we love thinking about. We're a really, really ambitious company, and there are many things that I could believe that we will do over time. But to like more directly answer your question, that opportunity in front of us in the US from that number I pointed, just how fragmented and how large this market is, we are trying to do our best to stay really, really focused on that. There's so much growth we can achieve just by scaling what we do. So that is our focus. One way to kind of think about that is in 2019 we sold on the order of 175,000 cars. That's a lot of cars. But what our sort of publicly stated goal is, we think we can do much, much more than that. Our publicly stated goal is to sell 2 million cars a year. So really, really big growth between those two numbers. And that really is kind of our focus for now. But there's tons of interesting things we could do. Would the same approach work internationally? It's fun to think about, but not our focus quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, you're such a huge market in the US. I can totally understand why you'd want to just, capture as much as you can here. And then once you've reached that point, figuring out the next step. And as far as capturing the market, I mean, I've always, and personally as a consumer, I've been curious, do you think that there'll ever be a point where you guys will eventually almost white label cars for car dealerships?
Yeah, that's another really interesting area where you could think, well, if we want to have, test out if we have some close partnerships with dealers and we believe that they live up to our brand standards, would we want to, offer that on Carvana's site? That's another bucket we would put into. That could be a really interesting opportunity, but we do have to, stay focused. We have this real goal. So there are lots of things like that we might try, but no sense like that's a key thing that will be Carvana over the future. But we'll try lots of interesting things.
And, kind of close it up, you've been with Carvana for quite a long time. You guys still could kind of be considered a startup. Well, I mean, you have so much room to grow. What is some advice that you think you could give, someone who's looking to get into, an entrepreneur or someone who's looking to start a business? What are some of your learnings?
Sure. Let me jump back talking about the company I started, before joining Carvana, and we had that full journey and ended up selling the company. And I was looking at my next thing and got really excited about joining Carvana. I joined Carvana about 5 years ago, and I thought, man, this is such a unique opportunity. What we're delivering to customers years ago, was in a lot of ways a very similar company with that customer focus, and said, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to join this company. Those last 5 years, we've grown, companies changed. We're much bigger now. The thing I always say is, in a lot of ways, it doesn't feel that different than when, my co-founder and I, we were running our own small company. The entrepreneurial journey, there are a lot of similarities no matter stage of the company. When you're trying to grow, when you're trying to do something new and get your message out there, lots and lots of things are common. So the thing I point to most that feels the same as starting your own company that Carvana still shares is there are always going to be more interesting things to do than you have time for. And it's just a really hard question to ask every single day. What is the most important thing I can do in order to serve my customer need? That was true at the very beginning. How do we get something that a customer would want? Do we have a thing that customers want to buy, to interact with? Then when you start to scale it, well, what are the most important things to scale so that we don't sacrifice the customer experience? And that has sort of been common at my entire time at Carvana. We're much larger now, but that's still the discussion that we're having. How do we continue to deliver the customer experience? If you look across our company, we're really proud of the things that we've done. At the same time, everything we do could be better. We're probably not satisfied with, we could on one hand count all the things that we think that's great. We're probably not going to do anything more there. It's the exact opposite. It's everything could be better, but we just have to be really smart about picking the things that we're going to focus on at any given time. And that was the same struggle we had when we were my co-founder and I were a 10-person company. Is you got to stay really focused on the number one thing that matters, and that's often hard to pick. There are so many fun things, so many important things to work on.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes one of the things that I was always growing up teaching, my dad always taught me was that sometimes it's not a matter of making the right or wrong decision. It's a matter of making a decision and going with it.
Yeah.
So, I think that's Totally right on the nail on the head right there.
That fits a ton of things I've seen. You know, you often hear people say the thing that I find to be really, really true is bias towards action. Make a choice. It might not be a perfect choice, but do it quickly, learn from it, and adjust if you need to. Don't get stuck in the I'm not sure what quite to do, so quite sure what to do, so don't do anything. But yeah, totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Well, I think everyone knows, Carvana, but is there any other way that people should be looking up to learn more about your company?
Yeah, well, we're really excited about what we're doing. We're continuing to grow. We have what I believe, I'm obviously biased, some really cool positions open at Carvana. And so if it sounds interesting to you, if you're interested to get that sort of entrepreneurial experience while we're not a tiny startup anymore, I really do feel like it's a great launching pad for an entrepreneurial journey, great place to learn. So if you're interested, please check out Carvana. If you're interested in buying a car or selling a car, please check us out as well. But yeah, I think it's a great spot. So hopefully everyone will check us out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for taking a minute to chat with me. I look forward to
Yeah, it
seeing
was great to
everything that
chat.
you guys do in the future.